Hi, this is Mark at Ding Dong's Garden, and I just wanted to come into the hoop house here while it wasn't too windy and you could hear me, and talk a little bit about our mulberry setup. On the right side we have a row of grapes, and in the middle two rows are mulberries, and on the left are figs. I've got them all potted up. I learned my lesson. We're up here on Lopez Island up in the Pacific Northwest, and when I used to get trees, I'd put them straight out into the field, and I realized later that the trees like a little more growth before we put them out there. So I started bringing some back in, and then the new ones we got, I would pot them up and leave them in the hoop house for the summer, and they'd get pretty big, and it seemed to thrive a little better. It's pretty tight in here for two reasons. One is that I lack a lot of space for, I don't have too big of a hoop house. And the other reason is that we're kind of experimenting with the close proximity of mulberry trees and pretty intensive pruning. So these are all spaced at about 2 feet. And they're starting to leaf out a little bit, starting to break out a little bit, and I think we'll see how that goes. This is another one that's kind of interesting to me. It's a contorted mulberry, and it's a male, as opposed to the other contorted mulberry we have, which is has more of a corkscrew kind of look to it. And it's a female, and I'll show you that next. This is the other contorted mulberry. It's got fruit, so it's a female, and you can still see the contortion in it even on the older wood. So that's kind of fun. And we've got both a male and a female contorted mulberry in here. And here is Australian, and it just wants to set fruit. It's a pretty amazing plant. I don't have enough experience with it yet to see how hardy it is, but this made it through the winter outside. Probably we reached lows in the low 20s last winter, and it seemed to do okay. So this is one to watch. And I've got a just to show you how eager Australian mulberries are to set fruit. This is one that we rooted a couple months ago, and it's already starting to, it's just planted in peat moss, and there's really no nutrients in there, but it's just already ready to fruit. Now again, we came to the idea of growing mulberries in pots in kind of a roundabout way, just to get them older before we put them out to the field. But in reality, what we've discovered is that you can get fruit off of a mulberry that's in a pot. A lot of people talk about how environment will impact the taste, but we had a lot of very sweet mulberries last year from mulberries grown in pots. These are 10-gallon pots, and most of these trees are either 1 year after they were rooted or 2 years after they were rooted. And there's a couple in here that are grafted as well. Another thing we're excited about this year is we propagated several hundred mulberry trees. There's about 100 9-inch tree pots over there in baskets, and each tree pot has anywhere from 1 to 3 trees. And we're going to plant them out. Again, it'll be pretty tight spacing, maybe 2 feet apart, and we'll prune heavily next year to see what kind of fruiting we can get. But kind of looking forward to that project, and we'll show you what we get as it comes along.